Hello everyone and welcome to my desk setup tour 2024. So I've got several PCs installed on the desk behind me, and I'll do my best to have a brief overview of what I use each of them for and how they all hang together. So the first PC is the desktop you can see over my shoulder. I use this for a few things. The first is Microsoft 365 administration and office use. That's my day-to-day job. I'm also keen on AI, and I've deployed WSL2, which is a fantastic feature of Windows 11. It was a real game changer for me. And the model I'm using at the moment the most is Llama 3.2. I've also obviously started making these YouTube videos very recently, and I'm a complete novice on video editing, and this is the machine I use to do that. Hardware wise, it's AMD based and it's in a Cooler Master case, and the graphics card it's running is a 4090 Founders Edition, which is superb for everything I can throw at it, including all that AI stuff. It's got 64 gig of memory and a 2TB NVMe drive. So for peripherals, I'm running a Logitech mouse with lots of buttons. That's the main reason I went for it, so I can map those to various functions depending on which activity I'm doing. And I've got a Cooler Master keyboard as well. That's a smaller keyboard, and you can use it on Bluetooth, wired or wireless. It comes with a little dongle. I tend to use it with the little dongle, and it's worked out pretty well. Audio, the monitors both have speakers, so for some things I use that, just watching the odd YouTube video or even Teams calls, it's more than adequate. And if I want something a bit more serious, I've got a set of Sony headphones, which I link via Bluetooth. So directly below the PC, mounted under the desk, is an M1 Mac Mini. I bought this a couple of years ago, and I upgraded the memory to 16 gig, or took that option at the Apple Store, and I also added the 10 gig networking, although I use it via wireless now. Its primary use these days is as a music server. I really like listening to music, so I run Rune from that box, and there's a 1TB Samsung SSD which carries lots of FLAC files there. The other use for the Mac Mini is I've got VMware Fusion deployed, and I run ARM for Windows on this system, and I test out applications. A future purchase probably for me is a Snapdragon based laptop, and I think as I live primarily in a Microsoft world for work, I'm not seeing any app issues when I'm running virtually, so time will tell on that one. Peripherals wise, on the Mac Mini, I run a Logitech mouse and keyboard, so it's the MX Keys Mini and the MX3 mouse, which are great productivity tools. And yes, I do swap them in and out, so the Cooler Master and the other Logitech mouse come off the desk, and they're stored on a shelf in a unit nearby. Moving on to the third system, I use an Intel NUC. It's the last of the Intel units before they sold the business off. And it's got a 1360p processor, I think, and I installed another 2TB NVMe drive in there, along with 64 gig of RAM. And on this system I'm running Kali Linux, so I'm a bit of a novice ethical hacker, and I use that system mainly for upping my skill set on ethical hacking. So the mouse and keyboard on this setup are the same MX Keys Mini and MX3 mouse from Logitech that I use with the Mac Mini, just on a different Bluetooth radio. I use a Surface Pro 8 in my day-to-day job, and you can see that it's currently in a clamshell mode just next to the desktop PC behind me. I tend to switch this around a little bit, so I will use it in a laptop mode. I don't tend to use the type cover keyboard and trackpad unless I'm out and about. Here again, it gets linked to the MX Keys Mini and the MX3 mouse on the third radio. Main use for this is my day-to-day work, so I live within Microsoft 365, and very much a Microsoft world. Some AI as well. This machine also has WSL2 deployed and Docker, so I can run containers and various bits and pieces there. And it's linked to the two screens behind me, the Surface via a dock. So I've got a Surface Dock 2. When I'm out and about, I take the Surface Pro 8 with me. That's my main travel laptop. When I go into the office or onto any other site, that tends to go with me. So I take it with the touch, the type cover keyboard, and it's the unit with the pen inside. I'm not sure how well you can see that, and I find it's a great tool for meetings. I can just simply pop the keyboard around the back, place it on the desk. I use OneNote quite a lot for my meetings. I tend to split this up a little bit. So OneNote is for my notes, and if I'm collaborating with the team, I tend to use Loop for any action points. And the pen works brilliantly for handwritten notes, and with OneNote it'll translate the handwritten notes into text notes for me if I need to do that. It records. Obviously I can insert the meeting time tabs. So as a multimodal device, that's the primary reason I went with the Surface Pro, and I found it to be a great tool in my work life. It's not the most powerful machine in the world. There is a Core i7 in this one. It's obviously a mobile variant, and it comes with 16 gig of RAM, and it's got a 256 gig drive in there. I only went with 256 gig because as I said, this is my primary work device, and all my files are kept in the cloud, and very little is held on the device itself. So to run Windows and WSL2, 256 gig is more than enough storage space. Cost was also an important factor with this one. So I purchased this on a Black Friday deal from Amazon. They seem to do it every year with their Surface devices, and the device itself, the type cover keyboard and trackpad and the pen were all around £1,150, which is a pretty good deal. I was looking at a MacBook Air at the time, but I think the equivalent was around £1,700 or so pounds. And laptops from other manufacturers don't quite have the form factor. I think Microsoft really nailed it with the two-in-one. The multimodal device has been fantastic. So the screens behind me are both Gigabyte M28Us. They're 4K screens, and they can go up to 144 Hz. So the first system, the desktop system, that's linked via DisplayPort to the two screens, and that's set at full 4K, 100% scaling, and I set the refresh rate to 144 Hz. The Mac Mini is hooked into the USB-C, and that runs 4K again at 100% scaling, or the Mac equivalent. So the Surface Pro 8 comes out of the Surface Dock 2 using USB-C and plugs into the screens using the HDMI socket, and this runs at 60 Hz, full 4K again, and 100% scaling. The NUC running the Kali Linux instance, that's run at 4K as well, and that uses the other HDMI socket. So that was the primary reason for purchasing these monitors. I was a little bit worried as I'd moved from a 32-inch 4K screen to these 28 inches, and as you can see, I'm a glasses wearer and my eyes aren't quite what they were when I was younger, but the 100% scaling works perfectly, and the fact they've got two HDMI inputs, a DisplayPort and a USB-C is fantastic. I just wish the KVM worked across all those ports, so I can KVM across two sets of the ports, which comes in handy. I do have another keyboard which I'll show a little bit later. Also in the room is an ancient NUC which I run Chrome OS on. I like to recycle my machines, and I was going to use it as my music server, but you needed some kind of storage solution which I didn't have on that old NUC, so I've deployed that as Chrome OS. I am exploring the Google world a little bit more. Like I said, I'm mainly a Microsoft guy, but some of the Google applications are pretty good, particularly the notebook, the new one. I think it's still in beta, but it's got some good AI features in there. On top of the monitor, you can see I've got a webcam and a light bar. The webcam is a Logitech 4K, and the main reason for getting this one is it's Windows Hello compatible. Windows Hello for Business is a game changer for me. I'm quite hot on security and IAM, so Identity Access Management, and this fits right into that, as well as being a great webcam. The Surface Pro 8 is the machine I use mainly for Teams calls, and it's got great mics on it, as does the webcam. I've also got a light bar. we live right out in the sticks. It's an old house and it's got small windows, so I have all the lights switched on for this video. But when I'm not doing that, the light bar illuminates the desk quite well. And speaking of the desk, so it's a sit-stand desk. I do stand up on it quite often through the day. Every day that gets use. The desk is on wheels, so I can maneuver it around. I've got 3 primary positions that I use the desk in the room. It's a fairly typical, this is a bedroom of the house, so it's a fairly typical size, and that there is some other kit in here, which I'll probably go into in a room tour on a later video. The tabletop is 1.5 meters by 0.62 meters. It was a butcher block I purchased from Amazon. Sanded it all down, cut it, trimmed it to size, and I wanted a smaller desk. I'd always had 2-meter desks. The only thing I'd like to change now is to get a little bit more depth and maybe slightly less thickness, but as you can see, I use 2 Ergotron monitor arms to hold the monitors up, and I still need to keep enough thickness that I can still use those monitor arms, as the IKEA desk I had before was one with the cardboard inside, and that would not have supported the weight of these. Cable management is constantly changing, so I actually use tie wraps or zip ties under the desk, which I can just push cables through and change them at will. The main thing I change are the peripherals on the monitor. As I said before, the KVM doesn't cover all the machines, and the webcam tends to move from machine to machine, especially when I'm using the Surface Pro 8 in clamshell mode, as I can't use the webcam when it's in that sort of state. The final system you can see just over my shoulder is another Surface Pro. This is the Surface Pro 7, and I run all my Windows Insider builds on there, so Windows 11. It's running newer versions of Office, and it tends to be what I test everything on, and before I deploy it onto my production machines. So this is a bit of a project for me. I call it a cyber deck. After the Neuromancer novel, I don't actually jack into it, obviously, but it's the Surface Pro 7. There's an Anker USB-C dock on the back of a U-green tablet stand, and then it has my ZSA Voyager keyboard. I've been trying to get used to this over the past 6 months, or even longer now, but I just can't get to grips with it. Maybe it's because I'm still rocking the QWERTY layout, and these keyboards, most people tend to use them with a different type of layout. I've not tried that yet. Whether I can cope after so many years using QWERTY with a different layout. It's fully customizable. I can map all the keys differently. It uses lots of different layers, so I've got 3 layers on there at the moment for various different functions. And it is an amazing keyboard. It's just I can't quite get to grips with it yet, so I'm going to persevere, and we'll see where we get to. So that concludes today's desk tour. That's all my primary systems. We didn't talk about mobiles and iPads and all that type of thing, tablets. Maybe we'll do that in another video, and we'll probably do a room tour as well at some point, because as I said before, there's quite a lot of other kit in the room, which may be of interest to some people. So thanks very much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.